This video is sponsored by iFixit. I bought a broken PS5 from eBay. Let me show you the listing, then we'll get it unboxed and see what condition it's in. Here are the photos from the listing. Don't really show much from there. And the description says, Sony PS5 Blu-ray Edition console, no power. Unit does not power on. Damage to board may or may not have water damage. If someone on eBay lists something and says it may or may not have water damage, you can guarantee that it has water damage. So let's get it opened up and see how bad it is. It's always fun to first see what sellers think good packaging looks like. Let's see how this seller did. Oh, we got some bubble wrap. Okay, this is good. We got extra bubble wrap and then bubble wrap all around the PS5. So this isn't too bad so far. And let's take a look at the outside. The outside actually looks really good. Let's take a look at that HDMI port. And the HDMI port looks fine from the outside. So let's get these covers off and see if it's been opened before. Now the seller's description made it sound like it had been opened before, but they didn't specifically say that. Okay, and that's always fun when they include some extra screws that they probably didn't remember where they went. It definitely has been opened before, so this is getting interesting. Before I take this apart any further, I'm gonna plug it in and just see what it does. Okay, eject button. Eject button beeps. Power button beeps. No lights though. No fan. I keep hearing what I think are noises from the power supply, but I can't really tell for sure. So at this point, I think it's time to take it apart. I'm gonna be using the driver and bit set found in the iFixit ProTech toolkit. This toolkit is great for opening pretty much anything you need to open. It's got tweezers and pry tools all through here, and then it has the bit set right here. This is the driver that goes with this set, and this is the bit I'll be using on the PS5. Now, if you're finding that you need different bits that aren't included in this bit set, I highly recommend the iFixit Manta driver and bit set. This one has even more bits in it, and it has also a bigger driver and a few of the larger bits as well. iFixit is by far my favorite precision tool makers, and I think you're gonna be happy with whatever you buy from them. You can buy these kits as well as lots of parts and tools for various devices, and they also have a teardown section where you can go and look to see how to tear down almost anything. Go to ifixit.com to check it out. So they didn't connect this cable back up when they were putting it back together. That could be a problem, but we still got to get this thing the rest of the way apart, see what exactly is going on this board. Okay, and now let's see what's under this top metal plate. All right, nothing too interesting so far. In fact, I don't see any problems at all so far. So let's take the sandwich out. One of the things I suspect is the power supply, but let's look at the motherboard first to make sure there's nothing obvious going on there. And let's remove the motherboard and check out the liquid metal. Okay, I actually don't see any problems there either. So overall, I don't see any problems on this board here. So this leads me to believe we might have a power supply issue. So in these screws that were included and taped onto the casing of this PS5 are these two silver screws right here. They go right there and right there. That tells me that the seller had taken this apart, probably because they suspected the same thing that I suspect. So I'm gonna get it taken apart. Let's see if there's anything obvious wrong. Now I do need to say the obligatory disclaimer, don't mess around with power supplies. These power supplies can store enough power in them to definitely injure or possibly kill someone. That all being said, let's see if there's anything obvious that we can see that's wrong. Fuse is good, which I suspected. And according to this, the positive side and the negative side of this connector are connected together. That doesn't necessarily mean that they are actually. In some of these circuits they show as being shorted, but when you actually turn the power on, then they are not shorted. So I'm guessing that's only reading that way while there is no power applied to this power supply. Be sure to check the comments on that though. I'm sure if I'm wrong on that, there will definitely be a lot of comments saying so. So I'm not seeing any obvious problems on this power supply. So what I'm gonna do is use a known good power supply, try to power up the PS5, and that will tell us whether it's for sure this power supply or whether there's some other problem. So this is enough to test it. I've seen a number of comments from people saying if the fan isn't there, then it won't power on. That is completely untrue. You can run a console without a fan even installed. It will obviously overheat quickly, but you can do it. Also, I just noticed what I think is the source of the problems with this PS5. So I'll give you a second to inspect this part of the board and see if you can figure out what's going on. Any of you who noticed all of these little components right here are on to the source of the problem. So it looks like the person that owned this had the Ethernet cable installed and there was a lightning strike. The power went through the Ethernet cable, blew out all of these components and possibly blew out more things on this PS5. On the PS4, it was common for these components to get blown out and the south bridge to get blown out, but I don't know for sure if that's a common problem with the PS5. Let's try and turn this on now and just see if it'll power on. Okay, let's see if the eject button works. Nope. And the power button also does not work. The eject button probably doesn't work because we have the disk drive completely unhooked. So the power button doesn't work. We have a known good power supply. So that means there's a problem on the board. I'm gonna get the board back out and let's inspect it a little bit further. So these are the lines that come from the Ethernet port. Let's turn this board over and see where those lines go. So all these lines go through this component right here. I'm not sure what these are called, but inside of this, there's a whole bunch of little coils of wire. And then they go out right here, and unfortunately we can't see where they go from there. So these are the little lines right here, but unfortunately there's just no way to know for sure where they go because Sony and any other large manufacturers aren't required to provide any schematics or parts or anything to independent repair people like me. So unfortunately, this game console that is possibly fixable is now not fixable because there are no right to repair laws for manufacturers such as Sony. I suspect that this component could be faulty, or it is even possible that the APU itself is faulty. So unfortunately, this PS5 is not gonna be fixable. The good news though is that I do have a lot of very valuable parts. I've got a disk drive, I've got a power supply, and various other chips and components from the board that you just can't buy anywhere else. So while the PS5 itself isn't fixable, I probably have made my money back just in parts, but I really, really wish right to repair laws would get passed, so then stuff like this wouldn't happen as much. If you like watching me repair PS5s, I'll put a playlist up on your screen so you can watch me try and fix more. Thank you so much to iFixit for sponsoring this video. Thank you for watching it, and I hope you have a good one.